Today we got some major news coming out of Iran and out of Russia. We also have major news coming out of the United States. You do not want to miss today, and we have a new news platform. Hope y'all like the news today. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Don't forget to like. Hit that bell button. We're going to get straight into the news today. We have a lot to go over real quick. I have some appointments that I got to get to, some important meetings. So we got to go through this pretty quick. But tonight we will be following back up on this
of unprecedented military action on the United States as a response. Meanwhile, global oil prices are beginning to skyrocket yet again as U.S. officials prepare for an indefinite blockade of the Strait of Hormuz in one of the most high-risk gambles in modern geopolitics. Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers are now demanding that the U.S. president provide details to Congress about his war plans as the 60-day War Powers Act deadline is set to hit in just a few days, and it sounds like some allies are starting to get impatient. Meanwhile, we've also seen at least two more massive Ukrainian attacks on Russian oil sites, resulting in what are being called oil volcanoes. And on a side note, Ukraine also destroyed a few more Russian helicopters to add insult to injury. So it goes without saying that right now in the Middle East, it is crazy right now. And also, we are seeing some wild events, a very bad day for Russia as well. So let's jump right into our first article, which goes to none other than Fitux News. And right now, this is our biggest story of the day. We are getting word that U.S. Central Command has prepared a plan for a short and powerful wave of strikes on Iran in the hopes of breaking the negotiating deadlock, according to sources close to the White House. So this is a very big deal because we had heard before that the U.S. president was going to use this new U.S.-imposed blockade on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz to try to cripple the Iranian economy for the most part, and it appears to be that will likely still be in place. But on top of that, we're expecting short and powerful strikes to be coming very soon as well to I guess, make them negotiate, but that's not going to make the Iranians negotiate necessarily. That's going to make them retaliate. So in my opinion, they should probably simply just go in and finish the job and decapitate the Iranian regime instead of doing it, halfway like this right here. But we'll have to wait and see what this turns into. But I have a feeling that once the missiles start flying yet again, we'll probably see a full-scale resumption of the war, and it's probably going to be a free-for-all at that point. So we'll see when this is going to happen. Right now, we don't have a timeline on it, but we are expecting this to happen imminently at any moment. So we will be watching out for that. But also, moving into our next post here, this one goes to Fitux Network. We've also seen that the U.S. president has made a Truth Social post appearing to back up the reports that apparently strikes are coming soon on Iran. And here is what it says right here. It says Iran can't get their act together. They don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal, and they better get smart soon, sign the president. So there's a big distinction in here. I'm not sure if y'all caught this or not, but he said they don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal. That's kind of weird because I thought the president was trying to force Iran to give up their nuclear program. So what's this talk about a non-nuclear deal? That seems a little bit strange right there. I'm not sure if that was a typo or maybe a misspeak possibly, but if they're trying to get Iran to sign a non-nuclear deal, then what did we start this war for at this point? So that's kind of a weird thing. I'm waiting to see if they're going to correct that or leave that standing because that's a pretty big distinction to make right there. And also, I'm not going to comment on the picture. Yeah, I think y'all can come up with your own conclusions about that, but there's the picture right there with it. But anyways, though, that's what the president's saying right now, appearing to back up the idea that strikes are coming soon. And as you can see in the picture, it's showing strikes happening all over. It appears to be a Middle Eastern environment for the most part. So moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to the Kobesai letter. Meanwhile, it looks like investors are not liking the idea of an indefinite Hormuz Strait blockade by the United States. We are currently seeing that U.S. oil prices, this is not Brent by the way, this is WTI crude, has extended gains to $105 a barrel as the president prepares an extended U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz for potentially maybe even for months. So this was the worst case scenario, by the way, that everybody was worried about. They were worried that Iran would impose a months-long blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Now the United States is also imposing another blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. So they're essentially burning down the house to save the house, essentially. It's a little bit of a strange concept there with that. But as you can see right here, the oil prices are going crazy because people are not liking the idea of an indefinite Strait of Hormuz blockade. And I can understand why people are freaked out about that because it's really not a great idea. idea, to say the least. So right now, investors are not feeling too good about the whole situation. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to open source intel. And while the U.S. is threatening to take action on Iran to get them to come to the talking table, we're also seeing that Iran is not really wanting to talk. Iran is now warning of unprecedented military action if the U.S. continues seizing Iran-linked vessels near the Strait of Hormuz, according to Iranian state TV. So we have seen multiple different vessels get seized by the United States due to the U.S. blockade. We've also seen some boardings, but not necessarily ship seizures, but simply boarding and inspecting the vessels going through the area. So it appears to be that Iran is now flexing their muscles and saying they're going to do something about it, but that will have to be seen in the future, whether or not they actually do something about that. But I would imagine that once the missiles start flying, that will force Iran to act at that point. So we're probably coming very close to that, I would imagine. So we'll just have to see where this goes, but as you can see, the threats are definitely flying as of this morning. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Clash Report. We've also gotten some more information about how Iran's government is currently functioning, because that's a big question mark right now, is how Iran's government is functioning. Is Mujtaba Khomeini in charge? Is the military in charge? I mean, who's in charge of this place? Because right now, Mujtaba is like a ghost. Nobody even knows where he's at. So right now we're hearing that after Khomeini's death, which was the father, Iran apparently moved to a collective wartime leadership centered on the military and a Supreme National Security Council. And Mujtaba Khomeini is allegedly nominally supreme leader, but largely symbolic. He mainly just endorses decisions rather than making them, while the hardline military figures now drive policy on war, security, and foreign affairs. So, I mean, it's up to you about what you believe on this right here. I would say that since Mujtaba hasn't even made a public appearance ever since he took charge, that's a pretty bad sign for his leadership right there. So it would seem to be that the military is largely making decisions at this point, which is not good for talks, because if the U.S. hopes to have a negotiation and a peace deal made out, then how is that going to happen when the military is in charge? It's not going to happen. So it appears to be a pretty bad dampener for the possible peace talks. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to open source intel yet again.
Play solo. After work. At your own pace. No.
In the meantime, though, the U.S. blockade is not completely bad. Like, it's bad on one respect. I'll get into that in just a minute. But it's also kind of good on one respect, because we are seeing that apparently in Iran, the economic toll is starting to take effect, and it's actually getting quite bad inside of Iran. We're hearing that more than 1 million Iranians are out of work, food prices are surging, and there's been a prolonged internet shutdown crushing online businesses inside of Iran. And the question is, how much more pain can Iran take before they try to...
That's it, y'all. So how much more pain do y'all think that Iran can take? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about the blockade. Should we continue with the blockade? Should we let the blockade depace and actually disband from the military blockade, or should we continue to blockade the strait? I think we should continue to blockade the strait, but that's my opinion on it. I want to know y'all's. So let me know what y'all think. And then tonight, when I get back on the air, I will read y'all's comments out live on stream. So let me know what y'all think. And then when I get back on here later on, when we do Tonight to Lose, about around 10:30, 11 o'clock, we will go back over all the comments as in the on this stream.